guys are making. Can you just get on the stage, please? And can we finish this rehearsal?
It was really loud.
I mean,
right?
Don't start.
Technically, that wasn't 5 minutes.
Okay, you know what? You guys have me up to here.
Okay.
Okay, I'm here. I don't want to be here, okay? Now I have to play the piano, and I'm all up here. So you know what? Let's try and get this down. Let's try and work this down a bit, okay? And you know what's going to do that? Learning the song. The way it's written.
Let's do it.
Back to the top. 5, 6, 7, 8.
And welcome back to Raw Dogs Radio. Yeah, it's been a while. You know me, I pop my very aggressive head up out of the shadows like a ghost in the wind to give my analysis on things. So, here we are, week 2 in the preseason. And the question has come up on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Does the preseason matter? Now, before we get into that, I need to address something that was brought up today about Deshaun Watson's play last year, because I completely blame that on the coaching staff. Because if they would have stuck with the same game plan that they were using with Jacoby Brissett early on in the season, where they were just a power running team, play action pass, a basic Cleveland Browns team relying on Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt to march down the field and pound it in. All game long, just wear down the defense. Throw in the occasional pass, the big play. Those little 7-8 yard dumps to David Njoku were unstoppable. We were marching, and whenever we threw the ball, boom, little dump pass, David Njoku, boom, 2nd and 3. Okay. Hand off to Nick Chubb, gain of 7. 1st and 10. I mean, those things were working. The defense wasn't holding up. A lot of those losses that the Browns suffered under Jacoby Brissett were because of the defense collapsing in the fourth quarter. Let's be honest. We held on to Joe Woods. He should have been fired at the bye week. They should have made the change then and look at the special teams coach and be like, you're on notice. Cade York better start making those kicks. You guys have got to start recovering onside kicks. That's ridiculous. Tackle somebody, please. And you have to admire that. As much as we give Andrew Berry a lot of crap about his drafting, he hit some home runs this year. Hickman, undrafted, Ohio State. This guy was a star. It's a damn shame that he was an undrafted free agent. He was a steal. How about the center for Ohio State? That undrafted free agent. How's he doing? Number 43. I don't even know his name, but I know every time I look up, this guy's making plays. And we're thin at linebacker as far as depth is concerned. Hickman can probably step in a pinch, at least on the outside. He'd make a nice nickel. He's familiar. All right, Dwan Jones. I mean, it's funny because we used to crap on the Browns for years for not drafting Ohio State players. Like, how do you not see all of this beautiful talent right 143 miles away? How do you come on? Grab these guys. And then we got Ward, and then the floodgates opened. I wouldn't trade Dewad Jones for nobody. That guy is the future. But Stephon Diggs, why would I want to trade? Why would I want to trade for now when I can have him for the future? I mean, you're putting Deshaun Watson's life in jeopardy when you take away your depth on the offensive line. That's not funny. You got to really think ahead. You don't put your quarterback's future in jeopardy because you want to get him a shiny new toy. Garrett did not restructure his contract for a wide receiver. Are you kidding me? Our receiving core is just fine. If you haven't noticed, the players that the coaching staff feel are valuable, unless absolutely necessary, are not out there to start those games, those past two games. Now they're going to be out there so they can get used to game action. That's why you hold scrimmages against other teams. See how well you fare in practice against somebody else. Like now, let's get out there in a real game situation. Get you used to being under the lights. Put the pads on. Let's play for real. Get you tuned up for that. So what you see out there are, I mean, that's your depth. You need your depth. DTR is an example of, when your GM starts hitting home runs in the draft, starts finding gems in the late rounds. DTR, Jones, who else? Well, he made the trade. Of course, he been hitting home runs on the trades in free agency. Wow. You know what? The way I look at it, as far as why we failed at defensive tackle, was because Joe Woods, he was listening to Joe Woods. He was trusting Joe Woods, and Joe Woods let him down when he knew he should have trusted his gut. And now that Joe Woods is gone, you noticed the first thing he did was completely revamp that defensive line with a lot of depth. So I'm thinking that maybe Garrett restructured his contract for defensive line help because you're still one guy short. Based on Jim Schwartz's defensive scheme, is defensive line heavy. All right, they can rotate. You don't miss a beat when one guy goes down, if two guys go down, if three guys go down, you don't miss a beat. That's Jim Schwartz's defense. He got Myles Garrett. Like, okay, you want to double and triple team Myles Garrett? That's fine. You're going to get beat either way. And by the way, I like to blitz my linebackers. I have corners that can play man coverage. I have corners that can play zone coverage. That other guy was just not using them right. This is why they were collapsing in the fourth quarter. Because, I mean, look at the confusion that they had out there. That Jets game was despicable. I blame that on 43 Johnson because he's out there supposed to be calling the signals and making sure the secondary knows what they're doing. and he's not communicating. Bad enough he stopped tackling ever since he got ran over twice on the goal line by the Steelers on what was it, Thursday night football? He just stopped tackling. He stopped making an effort. He pulling up on tackles. Not even trying to dive. He out there making business decisions. Yeah, no leadership. I wonder who yelled that. I hope it wasn't him. Yeah, we got Thornhill. But Grant Delpit appears to be the captain. He's taking on the responsibility. Because in Jim Schwartz's offense, that's who runs his defense, at least his secondary. He's the Troy Polamalu of the secondary, and he's going to be used like Troy Polamalu. That's why everybody's predicting a big year for him, because he's shown that he could do it. So you got stability at all 6 positions. That's nickel and dime. And you got good backups, depending on how many corners they want to keep. Any rate, Deshaun Watson's year, it didn't go as planned because instead of just running the football and thinking and dunking the ball down the field with Deshaun Watson, they suddenly, Stefanski wanted to air it out. He felt Deshaun Watson was comfortable enough with the offense to do it, when clearly he wasn't. And the sad part about it is, like that Saints game, we should have won that game. I mean, he threw some pinpoint passes into the end zone. They were just dropped. And unfortunately, the Saints offensive coordinator and head coach knew that, hey, this is the type of game that you showcase your power running game. Instead, we got Deshaun Watson in the shotgun. Why? When you got Chubb and Hunt and Johnson and Ford in the backfield, and the best run blocking line in the league. What are you doing? And people put that failure on Deshaun Watson. That's crazy.
That's off the field. Plus the things on the field where you're kind of the starting quarterback, but you're not really the starting quarterback. You sort of have to cede to Jacoby Brissett, and you want to cede to Jacoby Brissett because Jacoby is such a great guy. But then you're taking over for Jacoby, but Jacoby is still established this unbelievable rapport, and you're still kind of sort of trying to prove yourself, and you still have your rust. All of that is gone. So now he just has this level of comfort, and each week you feel more comfortable being exactly who you are. So it's a very, very long answer, but it was a long question. I'm just saying, simply by virtue of all of that, you expect to see someone better. And in general, this is a guy that should be better every single week.
Yeah, I mean, because he had played football in over like almost 2 years. You got to ease him into the game slowly. You just stick with the Jacoby Brissett offense and let your defense do what they're supposed to do. And then, however the outcome is however the outcome is. You should have won some of those games had you stuck with that type of offense. And then whole new training camp. Because even I said it like it's gonna take him a full training camp like next year. He gonna have to come back once he got suspended. I said, next year he gonna be all right because he gonna get acclimated to the game. Then he's gonna go ahead. He's gonna go through training camp. He's gonna put all this crap behind him that the media keeps trying to bring up. No, like somebody gives a damn anymore. Talking about the Browns are hard to watch. Were they hard to watch when they signed Kareem Hunt? Okay, are the Saints hard to watch because of what's going on with their running back? Are the Bengals hard to watch because of Joe Mixon? No. Were the Browns hard to watch when the wide receiver killed that guy drunk driving in Miami? Huh? Were they hard to watch then? Like, stop being a hypocrite. You're such a tool. No respect. Just, dude, have some dignity. At any rate, he's got all that behind him. He's got a full training camp. He's got new teammates. All right. Everybody, they know what he can do. He's got a reputation. This is why you gave him $230 million guaranteed, because you know he can get the job done. People are hating on him because of the record with the Texans. I'm like, dude, it was just him and DeAndre Hopkins. And then it was just him. Like, are you kidding me? He was putting up, he didn't go to the Pro Bowl because he can tap dance in the pocket. No, like he was putting up numbers with garbage. Remember, football is a team sport, not tennis. The team around him was garbage. That's why he quit on them. They weren't making it better. They were making it worse. They were wasting his talent. Nick Chubb went down at the 1 yard line. That big run against the Texans, remember that? When Nick Chubb ran it all the way down to the 1 and then he stepped out of bounds? Do you remember when they asked him why did he do that? He said because they got Deshaun Watson over there. That's Mr. Fourth quarter comeback. Are you kidding me? I'd rather we run out the clock than us go up by 10, give him the ball, they score. You see how crappy our special teams is playing. We still got a little bit where the Browns touch on us. We'll probably mess up the onside kick or something, and then boom, touchdown pass right down the middle. Deshaun Watson, or amazing Steve Young type touchdown run by Deshaun Watson, and then we lose the game. When I could have just stepped out of bounds and let Baker take a couple knees and we'd be done. Shoot, yes. Oh, we're still the Browns, all right? We were still the Browns at that time. Shoot. Remember, once he made his explanation, everybody was like, yeah, oh, yeah, you're right. Like, you're right, yeah. This guy, our defense played a hell of a game. Trying to beat the Texans. Hell, he was all over the place. He was damn near unstoppable. Thank God we had some cornerbacks that could play down in the red zone. Whew. And Myles Garrett to chase him all around that field. At any rate, yeah, he's comfortable now. We're getting glowing reports coming out of camp of what the first team offense is doing, especially against the Eagles. Like, we dominated one practice. They got the best of him in the second practice. All right. But you didn't hear any more about them getting over on us. And of course, you saw the game, Cade York. Man, bring in another kicker. I don't want to hear all of this crap about this guy's mental state. He's missing kicks. If it's the holder, then switch the holder. Okay? Put DTR out there. That way, you can run some. In all honesty, that's what you should do. You should put DTR out there to hold kicks, get him to practice that. So that way, if you want to run a little tricky play, because you like to run tricky plays, you have the option because teams will eventually fall asleep with DTR just kicking, holding for kicks, holding for kicks, holding for kicks, and then boom, you can get them on like a 4th and 1 or a 4th and 3 down in there, like past inside their 35. You can get them. You can get them. Maybe you don't think York could hit it. You can get them. You take a chance. Put the ball in his hands. Have a wide receiver or a couple of pass catching tight ends out there. Boom. Give them the option. I mean, let's at least try that. Let's see if that helps. I mean, it probably won't, but let's see if that helps. But you should bring in some competition. Maybe that's what he needs. Maybe what he needs is a kick in the pants. Like you're trying to play all these head games with him. I mean, come on. Do the guy need to take his meds or something? What's going on here? He's a kicker. This is the NFL. Either make the kicks or get the hell out. We're not here to baby you. Just ask Anthony Schwartz. Either start making catches or you're going bye-bye. That Watkins kid is, hey, that kid's out there looking like John Taylor. He's a big-bodied guy, too. He's very physical, too. If anybody hasn't been paying attention, they have to damn near drag him down by the back of his jersey. Good Lord. I think him and Cedric Tillman are going to make a dynamic duo. I think those guys are really going to step up. We got depth at wide receiver. You haven't even heard DPJ's name, not because he's not performing. It's just like you don't necessarily hear Amari Cooper's name too much. Like everybody's playing their role. We know DPJ gonna make his catches. Come on. This guy is nothing but hands. He is a physical guy. He may not be as fast as we'd like him to be. He's not Elijah Moore fast, but we know he can catch. He ain't going nowhere. Relax. We have depth at wide receiver. Yeah, so Schwartz is on the bubble. Schwartz is clearly on the bubble. Yeah, but all these guys, they're performing very well. I'm liking what I'm seeing. Looks like Wills has gotten his stuff together. All right. Hear good reports coming out of camp concerning him at left tackle. Let's see. They did restructure Bitonio's contract. I haven't looked into the details on that. The only thing I really hope that we, of course, make it to the playoffs with him healthy, because I hated that he wasn't on the field to enjoy that victory over the Steelers. I mean, as many losses that he walked off the field suffering, I hated that he couldn't walk off the field with such a glorious win. Yeah, I hated that. So hopefully, at least he'll get a taste of, a win under the new quarterback and new teammates, on a team that's built to win now. uh, that'll be a sweeter victory. You know what I'm saying? That'll be a sweeter victory. At any rate, no, I mean, I guess the only position you're really worried about is uh, Nick Chubb's backup. I mean, I like what I'm seeing out of those guys. Demetric Felton is playing the Eric Metcalf role very well, right? They're not stupidly running him up the middle. They're getting him outside on sweeps and draws and whatnot. Letting him pick his spots. That's what you're supposed to do with a guy with that type of skill set, with the speed and the shiftiness, you know. Yeah, you get him outside. That tippy toes type of runner. And he's shown that he can take a hit. And he's shown he can deliver a hit. So, for a not so physically built guy, he's tough. And that's what you need out of a scat back type of guy like that. You need that toughness. So, but behind him, it's kind of questionable. I don't know. I mean, the rest of them seem pretty average. Uh, I heard that Johnson is a free agent. Like, I think he got cut or something. If you want to bring him back, I wouldn't be mad at it. It's not like you weren't satisfied with him. It's just that you had to remake over your roster. So, he was just expendable at the time. But if you still see some value in him, pick him back up. Like, I'm pretty sure he'd be happy to come back, and back up Nick Chubb. Even if it's for a while, he'd probably just be happy to be back on the team and in the room with his homeboys. It ain't nobody changed. It's still the same running backs. The only thing is, Hunt is gone. That's the only difference. Hmm. I was just thinking how that affects the running back room. Like, so now Nick Chubb is the unspoken leader in the running back room. And the one thing we know about Nick Chubb is that he's very quiet, but he's also very focused and very driven on being the best running back he can be. All right. And the best teammate he can be. So, who's going to bounce off of that to alleviate the tension in the room? Somebody has to be the icebreaker. So, I guess it's just a matter of the personalities in that room. Like, who's the outspoken one that's, not there to cause disruption, but just to, hey, all right, fellas, we got it. We cool. All right, relax. We got it, coach. Who's that guy? Who's that guy? We, I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. Um, yeah, but outside of that, that's the only real question that really stands out and outside of linebacker. But I don't think I think Jim Schwartz is the type of defensive coordinator that, of course, teams don't necessarily run the ball too much. So his defense isn't linebacker heavy. Like, he used linebackers to, of course, for pass coverage and blitzes. They're not necessarily there to stop the run, unless they're trying to get a negative play on a blitz. Your defensive line will your edge rushers go for the quarterback, your tackles look to stuff the run. If it's not a run, then you push the pocket all the way back. No matter what, your defensive tackles push the line back into the quarterback's face. You make him fall all the way back into the edge rusher's laps. Aaron Donald is perfect for Jim Schwartz's defense because he's a pile driver. He will move the pile. You're not stopping him one on one. Ask yourself this based on what you see out of the depth chart. Do you need next year's second and third round, fourth round draft picks based on what you're seeing out of the depth chart on this team? You're solid for at least a good 2 years. What's the best way to bump up that chance that you win a championship? Hmm? Is it a wide receiver or the best defensive tackle in the game that looked like he got at least another 2 years left in him if he played in the right system where he just got a lot of one-on-one matchups? I mean, damn, the Bengals almost beat them in the Super Bowl. He had to take the game over in the fourth quarter. Do remember that Aaron Donald took over that game in the fourth quarter on that Bengals drive, their last drive. He took over that game. He single-handedly beat the Cincinnati Bengals on their final drive. I mean, Joe Burrow was unstoppable. The only team that could beat him was us. You know why? Because we could get to him. Our pass rush was able to get to him. That's why we beat the Bengals. And we've got the best corners in the league. As much as people don't want to believe it, Ward, Newsom, and uh, uh, Junior. I'm like, is it Erickson, Ellison? Like, what is this kid's name? Emerson, Martin Emerson Jr. Those are the best trio in the league. All three of those guys are A1 starters. If Newsom went to another team right now, he'd be their A1 starting corner. Emerson, he'd be their A1 starting corner. Those guys are that good. No, remember Newsom was grumbling about being in the slot because Emerson was outside. He's that good. I remember in what it was the game in can't remember which team it was, but they had him one on one outside with that team's A1 starting wide receiver, and they threw the lob pass, and of course he got beat. And I'm like, why is Martin Emerson out there covering, you know, that team's best wide receiver in the end zone? Man coverage like that. Like because the coaching staff believed that he had the talent to do it. And he proved it over time throughout the season that yeah, he had the talent to do it. He just, growing pains. This is a damn good team. It's just questions at linebacker, but it's okay because linebackers are like, luxury toys. They're like sprinkles on Sunday in Jim Schwartz's defense. You either covering or blitzing. One of the two. I'm not calling on you to, be run stuffing linebackers. Sure, you can go ahead, get them. If you see them, get them. Sick them. But teams don't run the football like that anymore. So you're either covering or you're blitzing. And we have the linebackers to do that. This team is built to win now.
He's more versed in the offense. He's thrown more balls. He's gotten more reps with all of his receivers and tight ends and his line. All of that. You expect to see something better. And it's reasonable to expect that. It's why coaches and teams talk about peaking late in the year as opposed to early in the year, because you get better every single week.
Aditi, what do you make of Austin Watkins Jr.? Is it just a nice, cute little story, or do you think the kid can really play?
I mean, it's a great story, isn't it? The guy, comes out of UAB, tries to latch on to a couple NFL teams, goes, plays in the CFL, comes back and plays for his hometown USFL team, Birmingham. Doesn't really have a monster year, but wins the championship, catches enough eyes to come here, and is catching everything that comes his way. It's a guy seizing an opportunity. I got to talk to him after the game because he had another monster game, as you can see right there. And he just was very... I don't know like the best way to say it, but almost just calm about it. I'm not focusing on making this team. I'm not focusing on how many receivers there are. I'm not thinking about who's a lock and
I bet you he's just focusing on putting out good tape.
who's not, and who's been drafted and I haven't. I'm just focusing on doing what I'm here to do, which is catch the ball, run the routes, play the game. He's a great story. I think he's going to be hard to not make the team, but I think the Marquise Goodwin thing, he's a different receiver. Goodwin is a guy that stretches the field. That's not necessarily who Watkins is, but it is a numbers game. Does Jakeem Grant make the team as a returner, and does that affect things? It's interesting. It's hard to disagree with the numbers that he's put up, because at some point it does matter. It is production. And, you heard John Harbaugh say that yesterday when people are trying to denigrate the Ravens' very, very, very long preseason win.
And see this depth chart? See Cooper, Moore, DPJ, Tillman, Schwartz. You can slide him the very bottom here. Matter of fact, you can stop right here, really, at Tillman, and then just move over, because you already know Tillman is in this slot, and these two are kind of working it out. You know what I'm saying? DPJ is going to see a lot of field action. I'm not worried about that, because he's going to free up a corner so Moore can get lined up on the nickel corner or linebacker. All right. Because he going to line, that's why you line him up in the backfield. So that way he matches up with a linebacker. And if you just run him straight up the middle where they have zone coverage and you got both wide receivers running deep, he can slip underneath, boom, get the ball right over the linebacker's head, boom, Moore catches it, and down the middle, he could break that and go all the way, because both safeties are going to drift over towards the wide receivers running deep down the sideline. So they're going to float over there to get the double coverage. So that middle, you got a linebacker just covering Moore from the backfield. He comes straight out. You move him outside, and then boom, he matched up with a linebacker right down the middle. He going to beat a linebacker. He's fast. He's gone. That's going to be a touchdown. So DPJ is going to see some playing time. Tillman, of course. So Bell, in all honesty, is in danger of losing his spot to Watkins. All right. If I was to make the depth chart right now, Watkins would be above Bell. So then it would be Bell, Grant, Goodwin, and then Schwartz. But I'm only keeping 6. Yeah, excuse me. But I'm only keeping 6. So it's Cooper Moore, DPJ Tillman, Watkins Jr., and then Bell. If I keep 7, then I'm keeping Grant. All right. Because I mean, last year Bell didn't really get a chance to play because of the way the offense was ran. So I'm not going to hold last year against him. All right. We have a humongous upgrade at quarterback to now where we can be a passing team. We can show off with the pass and give guys an opportunity, design some plays to get guys open, you know, and give guys a chance to play. Use the power running game, when you need to. Right? I mean, let's be honest. The way the Browns are built, they're built to put up points in the first half, just like they were when Stefanski's his first year. We had the flashy offense, the play action pass, deep pass to DPJ for touchdowns. And then in the second half, it's Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Just pound the rock, pound the rock, pound the rock. That's how we got to the playoffs. You can go back to that this year, where it's like 38 to 13, halftime. You can go back to those games. You have to remember we had big leads at the half in Stefanski's first year. That's when we believed in Baker for real. Watson is capable of doing that. He's got a whole lot of shiny toys that he can use at wide receiver. He can showcase their talents. So Grant will be my 7th, but Goodwin and Schwartz, I don't know. I mean, you signed Goodwin because you needed the speed, but you have more. All right. You have more. He can, he's enough. And Watkins he's fast too, as is Tillman. That's why Bell he will be at the bottom of my depth chart. He will have to play his way past Watkins. So far, we haven't seen that. Yeah, so Goodwin would be on the chopping block. Probably put him on injured reserve. Call it, because they did that, didn't they? Put him on injured reserve. So that's his season. Boom. You don't have to worry about him. So Schwartz. Yeah. Right there on the chopping block.
Win streak. Those games do matter to the guys that are trying to make a team. And those games do matter to people that are fighting for a job. And somebody who stands on the sideline in the fourth quarter, maybe the quality of play isn't the same as what you'd expect week 4 out of your first teamers, but the effort and the intensity and the focus is absolutely the same. If anything,
yeah, because you do see Schwartz putting up an effort. He's been making some catches. I got to give him his credit. I got to give him his flowers on that. He has been making an effort. You see him fighting for a job.
I think it's even more because those guys are hungry.
But Aditi, despite that, anybody discussing the streak is embarrassing themselves, and I'm crapping on it because who cares?
Okay, that's how you feel.
Okay. See, when Bull does that, I know what he's doing. I mean, it's a low IQ take, but he's speaking on it from a fan's perspective that just want to sit there and eat chips and drink beer and watch football. All right, prattle off stats about 1964 and stuff. You know, these guys don't care for the preseason. They don't care about some third string running back. All right, they want to watch the starters play. They waiting on the season to begin. So no, those type of people, no, they don't care. He's speaking as one of those. Okay, he's speaking, he's their mouthpiece. And understand, we don't, you know, we don't entertain those guys. So, you know, those guys are nuts. There's no getting through to those guys. They don't understand the nuances of the game. It may not matter to you, but it matters to other people. You know, show some respect. Because if it wasn't for the preseason, who's the guy? Terrell Davis for the Denver Broncos? Yeah, they would have cut him. They said that hit he made in the preseason game that knocked the ball loose on the punt return made them say, okay, put him on the team. This guy he's a volunteer. He wants to be here. That guy wants to play football. And now they're debating on whether or not, remember they were debating on whether or not he should go to the Hall of Fame because he had to retire with knee injuries, and he was the sole reason why the Denver Broncos won a Super Bowl. 2 Super Bowls even. He was the main focus because they finally gave John Elway another running back. Remember the first time they got the first 2 times they went, they didn't have a running back. But then the third time that they went, yes, I say that very painfully, was because they had Bobby Humphrey. Bobby Humphrey was a damn good running back. He was flashy. He was powerful. He was like Eric Dickerson light. But, you know, I mean, you know his tragedy. But instead of getting there with just the passing game, which was costing them Super Bowls, they had a balanced offense, but they just ran up against the buzzsaw in the glorious 1989 San Francisco 49ers. If you do any if you do any digging and look into that team, trust me, those guys they were a wood chipper. They were a wood chipper. I mean, they almost three-peated. They had to kill Joe Montana almost. The Giants they knocked Joe Montana out the game. They had to cripple Joe Montana in order to win that game. And as we all know, Steve Young was no slouch. He is no slouch of a backup. Trust me, that team was a buzzsaw. And we had the potential to be a buzzsaw. Do we even have a fullback? Or are we just going with the, one back system, which is scary with today's linebackers that aren't run stuffing linebackers? That's very scary. Going one-on-one against Nick Chubb. Good Lord. I don't even care if he get the rushing title. Just get 1,400. We're good. Get 1,400. We're good. We don't have to be a power running team anymore, in all honesty. I mean, we saw what he did against the Raiders from the shotgun. What he had, like 3 carries, 156 yards, 2 touchdowns. I thought he was a wide receiver the way he was running down that field. I mean, geez. You say he ran track? Yeah, I think Nick Chubb in the open field is against some cornerbacks and some 220-pound linebackers. I think that's a good idea. I think that's a good idea. He has not lost a step. Let's be honest. He has not shown any. I mean, he's missed some games, but he hasn't slowed down. So let's be honest. He's still good to go. Thank God. This could be a breakout year for him as far as performance. Definitely yardage. We'll see how touchdowns go. I mean, you get in close, you have so many options. You know, maybe you might want to give him one because he ran 47 yards to get you down into position to score the touchdown. You know, it's like, come on, let's give it to him. Like he should have scored. You know, one of those plays where the defense kind of gives up because, like, yeah, like shit, like go on, give it to him. They just gonna ram him down our throat, and he wants it. Easily walks in for the touchdown. I think I'm seeing the design of the offense, which so you're going to need at least 6 wide receivers, possibly 7. You're not going to need 4 running backs, so you're going to keep 3. So Bell is Ford is definitely 1, and Felton is 1, and maybe somebody can go on the practice squad. Who knows? It depends on how they want to play it as far as the roster, what the offensive scheme is, which I think is going to be more shotgun based. As far as the running game, that's just them just seeing if guys can carry the load and also to run down that clock and get people out of there without anybody getting hurt. And seeing who really wants to play. You're looking for volunteers, not hostages. And with the depth of this team, let's be honest, we're watching some quality play here in the preseason. It feels good that they won the game because that these guys who probably aren't going to be here, at the start of the season, they went out there, they gave an effort. This is a memory that they'll have that they, played as a Cleveland Brown. This was the record. They can tell some positive tales about the game. That stuff matters to those guys, who have to go back to, whatever they were doing before they were given a shot. Those are fond memories for those guys. That camaraderie. The losses still tell a tale. It's not like, they're bitter. It's not like they hold it again. Oh, I hate the Colts. No. They don't worry about that. It's just, hey, that's just football. Like, we're just trying to make a football team, whatever. Where you made your mistakes. You try to correct them. You work on it in practice. After practice, you do what you got to do to make the team, to get better. Put out some good tape. Being out there on the field, being out on practice. You want to put out good tape. Best way to do that is to play at your best. Work on improving your flaws. That's how you get a Jerry Rice. Let's be honest. That's how you get a Jerry Rice. You know, he was narcissistically obsessed with being the best and working on his flaws, gaining weight, losing weight, running hills. You got to push yourself. So yeah, the preseason matters to these guys. You know, it matters to the coaching staff. It matters to the general manager. It managed. It matters to the owner. It matters to the player. It may not matter to the average beer drinking, sausage eating fan running around 50 something years old in a Bernie Kosar jersey. I mean, trust me, we appreciate your loyalty. You know, but we'll see you at the stadium, sir. Not where we go and drink our coffees. I know I'm being a snob, but I'm just being honest.
Disagree.
Well, let me really.
Wait.
I mean, winning is winning is winning. Like, you
No,
play
it's
a game
not.
to win.
No, it doesn't.
right.
It doesn't matter. You think it matters?
I mean, I think it matters in that they're creating a culture where they're saying every single time we go out there, every single time the ball is kicked off, it matters to us. I mean, does it matter that it's led to a Super Bowl? No. Does it matter that it's led to something very significant in the standings that matter? No. But it is an organizational ethos that every single snap matters. And when you're filling out the bottom of your roster, you want guys that believe every single snap matters.
I think it matters to them.
Yeah,
fair.
The Browns went 4-0 in the preseason and didn't win a damn game all year long.
But that's fair.
I've been trying.
He makes a good point.
I've been trying to.
Well, yeah, because that team was built to lose. Sashi Brown filled that roster with scrubs. Remember, he traded off all of the guys who had peaked. Okay, a lot of the oft injured, aging, overpaid players. He jettisoned those guys in trades, or he cut them, whatever. He got rid of all of the dead weight. He came and trimmed the bushes, and whatever was left, whoever was hungry enough that wanted to be here, that wanted a job, that seemed to have some sense of talent here, you make up the roster. Of course, we went 1-15 and 0-16. We went through that. But look at what became of that. Outside of John Dorsey screwing up the draft and drafting Baker Mayfield, because that was not the plan. They made, trust me, Andrew Berry is Sashi Brown's apprentice. The master and an apprentice. Andrew Berry worked under Sashi Brown. Hugh Jackson cost Sashi Brown his job, but Sashi Brown did not want to sacrifice those draft picks, one of which was Nick Chubb. A second and a third for A.J. McCarron? Are you crazy? I'm going to enhance the Bengals roster for garbage. I didn't validate this. You ran behind my back to the owner and convinced him for this trade. Like, stop messing up my plan. I gave you a 5-year contract because in 5 years, the roster will be good. These guys will be used to you. They'll be hungry. You'll have the talent. All you got to do is coach the team. Stay out of the business. I got this in. So he sacrificed himself, cost him his job, brought in John Dorsey, and now look at you. Fired. trying to lie and say you was paid to lose games. No, you were paid to coach the team. How you coach that talent out there was your business. You knew your roster was garbage. You were supposed to instill a power running game, play action pass, and lean on your defense. That's what you do when you don't have any talent. You don't run 3 wide receiver sets with Deshaun Kaiser. Are you crazy? But luckily, well, Paul DePotesta stepped in. It got rid of Dorsey. All right, got rid of Freddie Kitchens, and then hired who they were supposed to have hired in the first place. All right, because they were supposed to have promoted Andrew Berry to be the GM. But instead, they went with John Dorsey. So Andrew Berry went to Philadelphia because he didn't want to lead the NFL. You know, the NFL, they saw the smarts in him. They knew that he was the right-hand man, okay, of Sashi Brown, who put all of this in motion. The team that we see right now. Sashi Brown put all of this in motion. He stopped listening to Kevin Stefanski and Joe Woods, his coaching staff. He stopped listening to them. You know, and he started making his own decisions this year. No, I'm not giving Baker one more year. I don't care if he wants to blame it on injury. I don't care. No, I'm sick of his attitude. He can go play somewhere else. Yeah, how's he doing? How's he doing, Stefanski? How's he doing? Where? Battling out with who? For Tom Brady's old spot? Okay. You guys should go check the tape on that. It's hilarious. I mean, NFL Network, they just brought it up. I had to see it for myself. Oh my God. Ooh. Yeah, he stopped listening to Kevin Stefanski, and he gave him what he needed in order to run his offense. Like, tell me, what type of offense are you trying to run? Like, okay, let me go get you the best of the best. I mean, do understand with the restructuring of Bitonio and Garrett's contracts, we have the most salary cap space in the NFL. You don't get that with a GM that doesn't know what he's doing. I mean, we ended the season with the most cap space with all this talent. And now we just brought in more talent and still have the most cap space. I mean, we're underpaying guys like hell. We're underpaying people like hell. We making side deals. I know they're going to ask this. Look, I know they all ask for some more money back from Deshaun Watson. It's coming. Watch. Watch. And Deshaun gonna give it up too. He gonna give it up too. Just to show that it ain't about the money, that it's about the team. He gonna give some of that money up too. Cause he got us on that contract. I mean, he helped some other brothers get paid, but I think he'd be more than willing to take a reduction, for the sake of the team. As long as y'all gonna spend the money on getting talent, like, hey, you weak right here, but the only way we can bring in this player right here is if we get a couple million. We need at least about maybe like 30. Because we got to give him a signing bonus. you know, we gotta make it look good for the press. We gotta make sure he gets some guaranteed money. Because he want to come here. He want to play with you. What's up? Not in that way, Paul, excuse me. But he want to come and play on the Browns. But he said this is his price. So, I mean, everybody else done took some cuts. Can you help out the team? And he'll probably be like, all right, if you're doing it for this player, cool. Like, draw it up. You already got the contract. Come on, just give me the pen. Just give me the pen. I know you already got it ready. All right, look, wait, let my agent look it over, and the next time you see it, it'll probably have my signature on it. And they'll be like, okay. Like, because, he got to make sure that they don't try to sneak nothing else up in there. Make sure it's on the up and up, sign it, give it back to them. You show up let your lawyer show up or your agent show up. Here you go. Yeah, you signed it in red. Signified blood deal. Watch, it's coming. It's coming. It's probably coming because some of these guys, they're going to be. It depends on what type of season they have, what their contract gonna look like, and whether the Browns feel they're going to be worth it or not. Because ever since that Austin Hooper deal, if you notice, Andrew Berry has been very, very frugal with the free agency money. All right. OBJ was worth his money. It's just that he didn't have the right quarterback. We discovered that. Let's not play games. We all saw him in the Super Bowl. Let's not play games. He had been doing that for the Rams ever since they picked him up. He was their go-to slot receiver. He was making plays. Man, that team had so much potential. At any rate, yeah, depending on whose contract is up, how much they're asking for, how much of a team-friendly deal, because a lot of these guys are on team-friendly deals. All right, this team is built to win. It's not built to get you paid all crazy. It's built to win. No more of this team being a rest haven for hoes. And that's, aging off injured players on these super ridiculous contracts, 56 million for like 4 years for a linebacker that can't even rush the passer. This 34-year-old linebacker. Like, are you kidding me? No more of those contracts. You earn your spot here. Yeah, so Andrew Berry, I would grade him as an A++ right now. Once he got rid of Joe Woods, got Kevin Stefanski in shape, stop diddly-dallying and tell me what the hell you trying to do so that way I can get you the talent to do it. All right? So, Jim Schwartz, what do you need? What type of defense are you trying to run? Okay, you got Myles Garrett and you got this awesome secondary. And you got these darty little linebackers. What do you need? Okay. Defensive lineman. Okay. And depth. Okay, because I'm a depth guy. All right. You need defensive lineman. I got you. You already got depth at corner. Do you need any depth at linebacker? You don't care about depth at linebacker. Your corners can play linebacker. Okay. Okay. Man, I can't wait till the season starts.
Tell them all year, Aditi, listen, it's the process. When you're trying to
Right.
find guys, you want them to toe the line and have a process. That's how you can choose between.
That's how you get out of a losing. Browns have a losing.
That's like
mentality.
there's this Browns fan that went nuts. I'm sorry that I don't know his name, but he kept tweeting about how the failure of the first team offense in the Commanders game to march all the way down the field and then not punch the ball in shows how Kevin Stefanski is a terrible red zone caller and blah, 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 and et cetera, et cetera. So in that instance, I don't care that they didn't punch the ball in because Nick Chubb wasn't playing, their number one running back. Jerome Ford wasn't playing, their number two running back. Joel Bitonio, their starting left guard, was not playing. Jack Conklin, their starting right tackle, was not playing. It wasn't truly the ones, and it wasn't a game that mattered where they're unveiling their best plays. So for me, it was far more meaningful that the first team offense so methodically, so on point, so well marched down the field, that Deshaun Watson was comfortable tucking the ball and running when he thought that was the best move, that he was making his decisions and reading the defense so quickly. All of that mattered. It didn't really matter to me that they didn't punch the ball in there, whereas in a regular season game it would have. So I get that piece of it, and I will give you that for the preseason.
In other words, he looks ready to play. He looks like the Deshaun Watson that you paid $230 million guaranteed to.
And I also think that the preseason, it was important to see, what does John Kelly do with that? What does Felton do with that? It's an opportunity for some other guys who are trying to make the team show whether they can cap the drive or not, in which case they couldn't. So all of that, it matters. I don't know. It does matter to me that Cade York isn't making kicks.
That matters.
Yes, I appreciate
That
that he's made
matters.
every single. I appreciate that Bubba Ventrone tells me that he's made every single kick at practice.
Who
That
cares?
they've streamlined his process. That his leg is so strong. All of that matters to me. Yes, but it matters to me more that when the lights are on, he just doesn't look like he looked a year ago. And I had this conversation with Jay Feely, in fact, on the phone the other day. I was driving home. And we were talking about week one because we were on the call for CBS week one last year against the Panthers. And I stand on the sideline often right next to the specialists. And Cade York had a chance to go in there against the Panthers. He's a rookie. It's his first ever game. And he's got to kick this incredibly long kick to win the game. The look on his face, all right, let's go. I'm ready to go. I think the guy didn't want the Browns to score a touchdown because he so wanted that money kick. Was very, very different than the way that he looked against the Eagles there at the end. And that, to me, again, I'm telling you, mental state, where you are, where your confidence is.
So he looked scared to make the kick. I remember that. He had a worried look on his face before he missed that kick that would have won us the game. He had a worried look on his face. And I'm telling you right now, you need to bring in some competition because he needs a kick in his ass. Excuse me, but he needs a kick in the butt. He needs a kick in the butt. I'm not playing mental games with a kicker. Do you know how valuable you are? You need to have the confidence to know that when it comes down to a situation like this, that you know you're going to make that kick. And you better make that kick. you better hit the goalpost. If you miss that kick, it's because you hit the goalpost. Or maybe the wind curved it. Okay? If it's a clear, sunny day, little wind, you better make that kick. Just like you did against the Panthers. I mean, that was an amazing kick, man. That was an amazing kick. Your reputation right now is going to shit in behind that kick. Excuse my language again. I'm sorry. But your reputation is going downhill ever since that kick. And the problem is that you're putting too much pressure on yourself. Dude, just kick the ball. I know it sounds easy to say, but look, if you go out with every kick and just focus on just making the kick, don't worry about the complications of it. Just calculate what you have to do to make the kick. Don't worry about the implications of whether you make the kick or not. Just concentrate on making the kick. Just gauge the range. Look here. You get set. Look at the ball. Look at the goalpost. Look at the ball. Look at the goalpost. Calculate in your head what you got to do to make this kick. You know, I mean, you've been out here with this team before for the PATs. You know how they're coming on the rush up the middle. So you know how you got to get it. And then just make the kick. After that, it's all based on ability. It's head game and ability. You've proven that you have the ability. If that was a lucky kick against the Panthers, that's fine. I mean, the way that the ball curved and everything, I mean, they almost blocked it. If you'd have kicked that straight ahead, they'd have blocked it. You kicked it to the right and it veered left and swirled right through. That was a hell of a kick. Should have been wide right. You already knew how they were rushing. You knew where the hole was. You knew how the wind was playing that day. Only thing you focused on was making the kick. Boom. You hit the perfect ball. I guarantee you probably weren't even thinking about the implications. What would happen if you missed that kick? I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but we need competition. We need a guy that we can trust to make kicks in the fourth quarter. Period.
What your comfort level is. If I'm going to tell you what matters to me about Myles Garrett and it matters to me about Deshaun Watson, of course it matters to me about Cade York. I want a kicker who feels like a gamer, who's so excited to get in there and who expects to nail the ball. Not just, again, I'm not willing to give up on him because Chris Boswell went through this, 5 years ago. He had a whole season of yips. Yeah. The Steelers didn't give up on him, and he's been one of the, top 5 kickers in the league since.
Right, but you can't, it's tricky though, Aditi, because he made his first 8 field goals last year, and then he went 16 of 24 the rest of the season, which is terrible. And he looks shaky now.
Could you imagine after that Carolina kick that we'd be having this discussion?
I know. But,
But see, here's the thing. I think what happened a year ago. So, number one, I think he was overkicked a year ago. I think he kicked too much. Number two, and I've been told this by multiple people, there was too much in his head. There was too much of, in this city, you kick this way. In this weather, you kick this way. In this climate, you kick this way. In this stadium, you kick this way.
Okay, so he was getting advice from other kickers because that's the only way you find that out. You're a rookie kicker. You don't know this. I mean, you might know how to kick in college towns because, you're there all the time. They're rivalry games. You're a 4-year kicker. You know that. But when you playing in different cities you've never played in, you get advice you talk to other kickers. I mean, players talk to each other. So instead of trying to figure it out for himself, he's taking advice from other kickers. It's just like how golfers take advice from other golfers, like which club to use and, all of that stuff.
In this wind, you kick like this, but in the third quarter, you kick like this. And this is a guy who is supremely talented, who just naturally has an incredibly strong leg, whose a kick is good enough. And every kicker I've ever spoken to has told me that in different climate, different weather, you make a minor adjustment. You don't have a totally different kick. So what happened is early, the guy was relying on his natural talent and what he did. Then as the season went on, there was a little bit too much in his head. He was thinking too much. And we all know what happens. It's paralysis by analysis. And if you're thinking, you're not doing as good of a job if you're just out there doing. So what the Browns have done this offseason is streamline the whole process, made everything simpler, done everything they can to give him the confidence. Your kick, your A kick is good enough. That's it. Rely on your A kick. And that's part of why I suspect, I haven't asked anyone this, but I suspect this is why competition hasn't been brought into camp. Because this is a team that completely, totally believes in this young kicker, believes in his talent. And if the issue right now is up here, why mess with what's up here by bringing somebody else in?
Aditi,
No, but, okay, look. This is why I understand what she's saying. Because, look. Trust me, we all believe in K. York, and we know it's a head thing with him. All right. So, again, as they keep telling him, look, man, just go to your main. Look, if you just go to your main kick, you'll make your kicks. All right. The hash marks are the hash marks. If you're on the left hash mark, kick it this way. If you're on the right hash mark, kick it that way. Don't worry about the wind. Don't worry about the wind. Okay? Even at home, don't worry about the wind. If you're going to miss the kick, it's because of the wind, okay? Don't try to outsmart the wind. That's your issue. Stop trying to outsmart the weather. Just kick the ball. Let the weather dictate where the ball goes, not you. That's why you're missing these kicks. I get it. We all talk about, can he kick in Cleveland weather? Dude. As the weather gets colder, if you know which way the wind is blowing, then go ahead and adjust your kick. But other than that, if you're not sure, just go to your A kick. That's it. Just look at the flags. If the flags aren't, looking like they holding on to a wind tunnel, just go to your A kick. Okay? That's it. Don't try to outsmart the wind. That's all they're telling them. And for some reason, he's not deprogramming himself from that. Because in his mind, he's trying to be the best kicker he can be. But, dude, you can't outsmart the weather like that. All you have to do is just calculate it based on flag and distance and hash mark and height. That's it. Oh, and strength. That's it. Ooh. It's a head game with him. He's overthinking it, in all honesty. When the weather got worse, he started overthinking it.
if he's messed up here, how do I trust him in a game? And he might cost him the whole season.
He's got to kick his way out of it. What else? I don't know. I'm not a kicking expert.
Yeah.
You got to call Feely. You should put him on, actually. He's a guy that kicked in the league for 13 years.
Yeah, Jay's tight with Feely.
His son, and Jay is his son is a kicker at Colorado. Jay studies kickers still. Yeah. You should call him and ask him. He can. I don't want to talk about something that I'm not a true expert at, but he
I
could
gotta
probably
tell
tell
you.
you what exactly he's doing with his kicks, right? What Cade is doing with his kicks. I remember we had a game last year, week 13, we had the game, and Jay had watched every single one of Cade's kicks since he started missing and had diagnosed basically what he did wrong on every single kick.
Yeah, I got to tell you, the overthinking and too many people in his head, it all kind of sounds like bullshit, because any rookie kicker, you're going to have that. When it's your first time going through it, you're going to have a lot of people. We all sat here and said he needs to talk to Phil Dawson. Phil Dawson, more than anyone, can tell him how to kick in that stadium. It sounds like a bunch of excuses. Make the damn kicks. Just make the kicks.
Make the damn kicks.
There's a part of me too, Jason, that says that that's completely fair, right? The whole idea here is you have one job, do your job. That's it.
Yeah.
And whatever it takes to get out of it, do your job.
And I've been the biggest Kid York defender. I love the pick.
And bottom line, he needs to clear his head. He just needs to focus. He needs to clear the noise and just focus. He just needs to clear his head. That's all. Just clear your head, man. Stop worrying about the outcomes and the wins and all that shit. Stop making it complicated. Just go out and make the kick.
Yeah,
if you're that mentally soft that you can't handle competition, that's a problem.
Just we're in an environment where you need to coach individuals. It's not the same thing. It's, everybody's different. Everyone's motivated in different ways. You get the best out of everyone in different ways. It's nice and easy for me to just tell my kid,
look, here's what you do. This is how you handle it. Because the whole purpose of the competition is really you're trying to shake him out of a funk. So now you've done all you can. Maybe now a little fear should be introduced into him, to where, like, when you bring in the new kicker, you as the GM, Andrew Barry, they're like, oh yeah, hey, so York, meet such and such. Like, look, understand, kid, it's not, and then you pull them aside. Like, look, it's not that we don't believe in you, because we do. All right? But sometimes you have to do what's best for the team. But it's not like we've come to a decision. The only thing, listen to me, the only thing we ask of you is that you just make the kick. Stop overthinking it and just make the kick. That's all we ask of you. And see if the message gets through. Just make the kick. And then you have the coach tell him, be like, hey, look, I didn't call for this, but I'm telling you right now, kid, you need to just clear your mind and just make the kick. Stop worrying about all the other stuff. Just make the kick. Just clear your head, concentrate on just making the kick. Don't worry about the win. Don't worry about the outcome. Just make the kick. If it gets blocked, it gets blocked. If the wind takes it, the wind takes it. But just make the kick. Just kick the ball. That's all we ask of you. Just kick the ball straight towards the goalpost. That's all we ask you to do. You can do that. And see how he responds. Maybe the message will finally get through to him. If you really want to make it scary for him, you bring in a kicker that, maybe bring in a Blankenship. A favorite, Favor's favorite, the special teams coach. He coached him before in Indianapolis. Maybe bring him in. The guy is clearly terrible if he's not even on the Colts anymore. And then he lost the tryout with another team. The guy is clearly terrible. So you bring him in. He doesn't have a chance in hell of making this team. So you bring him in this competition. Of course you're going to beat him out. He's already beat him out. He didn't get cut, did he? All right. Shoot. Just a different tactic to get him to focus.
Just got to get better grades, and that's that. Period. I don't just get better grades. But you know what? He's 7. I need to sometimes be a little bit more aware of what's going to get better grades out of him. It's the world we're in.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Aditi, let's wrap it up with this. Heavy rumors circulating that both, this is stunning. We've heard guys asking for trades before, but never before have we heard 2 guys at the same time on the same team. But rumors swirling throughout football circles that both Mike Evans and Chris Godwin want to be traded now that Baker Mayfield is the starting quarterback for Tampa Bay.
Here we go.
Have you heard any details about this?
I cannot confirm that, and that is the first time I am ever hearing that.
Well, it could be because I made it up, or maybe it's just quiet. I don't know.
You're not any better than any of these guys that just throw noodles on the wall and see if they stick.
Yeah, exactly. At least I admit when I'm making up stories.
At any rate, yeah, the preseason is important. Preseason is important because you see how guys perform under pressure while fighting for a job. All right, you see their game performance. I mean, this is why we know that Watkins can play. He's already had NFL training camp experience. He's been playing all year long in those little minor football leagues. So the guy can play. He's earned a spot on this roster. No doubt about it. The free agency depth, everybody that got drafted this year, they're looking pretty good. They're looking pretty good. So now I'm thinking, where do the Browns fit as far as where they'll sit in the division? Now, rumor has it that Joe Burrow is playing in week 1, which would be good because I want to play against Joe Burrow. I'm not afraid of playing against Joe Burrow. I mean, this is the Bengals. Burrow is what, 1-5 against us? You know, come on. We're not afraid of the Bengals. That little weak offensive line. I mean, I thought they had these upgrades, but damn, these guys were damn near no better than the last guys that they replaced. That offensive line looks terrible. Without Joe Burrow, that team is what? 2-15? I mean, Jesus. I mean, the argument was about, who's the best quarterback in the division. I'm like, it's Joe Burrow, hands down. They're like, oh, what about Watkins? And, and then Jackson and Pro Bowls. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, but Joe Burrow took the Cincinnati Bengals to the Super Bowl and to the AFC Championship game where they got robbed. So that's the coach. We got it live on tape. It was fixed. You heard him. You saw him. He said it. Whew. Yeah, that's because of Joe Burrow. All right. Again, it took Aaron Donald to single-handedly beat the Cincinnati Bengals on that final drive in the Bengals' final drive in the Super Bowl. He made all the plays necessary to beat them in one drive. then I would say Deshaun Watson. Then Jackson. And of course now we have the new kid, the rookie. What's the guy's name for Pittsburgh? I know they call him small hands. Why do I keep thinking Tommy Maddox? um, but yeah, now you got the quarterback from Pittsburgh, whose name I don't know why this kid's name escapes me. Hold on, let me look this up. It's gonna bug me. Kenny Pickett. Kenny Small Hands Pickett. All right. Good Lord. Yeah, I mean, that's how memorable, that's how much of an impression he's left. Like, I couldn't even remember his name. But then again, I'm not a Steelers fan, so I don't pay attention to them. Yeah, so Kenny Pickett is, of course, at the bottom of the pecking order. Now, you can argue between Jackson and Watson as far as second place all you want to. But yeah, but Burrow is the best quarterback in the division, hands down. Neither one of those have done what he's done. All right, take your franchise to a Super Bowl, then we'll talk about if you're better than a man who's done it in your division. No, but based on talent, and also offensive scheme and quarterback. In all honesty, I could see us sweeping the Bengals in the first game. Like, when I could see us beating them on opening day, and then also beating them on the last game of the season, which I like how the NFL structured that, because they felt that the two teams that would most likely win the division, all right, probably based on the first game of the season, the last game of the season would determine one of two things: either a playoff spot, a win would equal a playoff spot for one, or a win would equal the division title for one. It didn't matter that they made the play. They were already in the playoffs, but it would guarantee one of the teams would win a division title. So they would play for that. It's one of those two. So they scheduled us versus the Bengals like that, because they feel we're the two best teams in the division. And Deshaun Watson, the NFL know they trust. And in Joe Burrow. You know, these guys are proven talents. Now, Lamar Jackson, his situation is completely different. All right. He had an offense that was tailor-made for him. All right. Out of Jim Harbaugh. Hell, him being drafted saved Jim Harbaugh's job. Because, without a capable quarterback, his system does not work. We see what happens to his offense when Jackson isn't on the field, when he's injured. The offense just doesn't work. The defense, it's not like it used to be, but it's still a pretty good defense. But it's all based on quarterback play. You know, when he had Joe Flacco, it wasn't necessarily about the pass, it was about the run. You know, those 2 Super Bowls they went to, they didn't have an air raid offense. They were a power running team. Play action pass with suffocating defense. Same, that's what the Steelers run. But that's what they ran. So Big Ben started wanting to be Mr. Air Attack. Put up a lot of stats, got some wins, didn't win those Super Bowls with it. I mean, there was the one against the Cardinals, but in all honesty, you can thank the defense for that. Defense and Antonio Brown. But after that, please, you're getting pummeled by the Browns. At home. That's what that gets you when you can't run the football in December and January. We can. At any rate, so yeah, that's the offense that the Steelers also used to run. That's how they made it to Super Bowls. You know, that's how a lot of franchises make it to Super Bowls, their ability to run the football and play style defense. You know, it's nice that you can air it out, but when it's time to run the ball, hey, if you can't, you'll look like the Atlanta Falcons, okay? When you don't run the ball, you wind up looking like the Atlanta Falcons. So that's what the division will come down to between Bengals and Browns, I'm predicting. Uh Third place will definitely fall to the Ravens. They have a whole new offense. What Lamar Jackson, whether he's able to adjust to Todd Monken's offense is entirely up to him. He wants to be a passing quarterback. Okay, well, here you go. I got you, I got you, Odell Beckham Jr. You know, he's looking good. I mean, he's coming off a knee injury, but there's him. You got another wide receiver. You got Mark Andrews. All right, you got uh, Dobbins. You should be good to go. Can he run the offense? We'll see. And then Kenny Pickett. I mean, they've got some talent. Him and that one wide receiver. Yeah, those guys, they've got some young talent on offense. All right, they can throw the football. Let's give it. I mean, Kenny Pickett, he can throw the football. I mean, he had some growing pains last year, reading defenses, learning that the linebackers are suckering you into making that throw. All right, yeah, he had some growing pains, but overall he looked pretty good. He looked like he should have started. You know, let him go through the growing pains. Um, but I guess in cases like that, you really want them to see what an NFL game is like. You know, you really don't want them to start day one. In all honesty, you want them to give them a few games to let them see just how rough it is out there. All right, let them get a feel for the game from the sidelines. You know, give them some reps with the starters, and okay, kid, let's see what you can do. Yeah, but I think he'll show some improvement. But I don't think. I mean, who knows? He might surprise you. The Steelers. I mean, let's give Mike Tomlin some credit. You know, he can coach a team. All right, they got a stout defense, and Kenny Pickett. I mean, let's be honest. wrestling with Ben Roethlisberger over control over how the offense was to be run. He doesn't have to do that anymore. Kenny Pickett he'll listen to his directions very well. So the Steelers will probably surprise some people. So who knows? It might come down between the Ravens and the Steelers as far as third place. That might be a little battle right there. That might be something to look forward to because whoever's in fourth place probably isn't making the playoffs. I mean, my money really is on the Ravens. All right, just based on Lamar Jackson's injury history. All right, now he's playing in a whole new offense. All right, where he's already trained to tuck and run. And he's sitting there in that pocket, drop back after drop back after drop back. I mean, sure, there's a dance. You got to do a dance back there. You know, you got to buy time, sure. You understand? That's a whole new ball game. That's a whole new ball game. At any rate, we'll see how that plays out. All right, so let me get out of here. Just had to get it off my chest. But yeah, I'm very proud of what Andrew Berry has done. I'm very proud of what he's done. I'm very glad that the owner has stepped back and let Andrew Berry cook. I'm pretty sure he's done Saucy Brown proud. And he's built the roster based on the coaching staff's designs. Right? He's the starters and the depth. And if he can improve, then I'm pretty sure he'll find a way where he can improve the roster. Go Browns.